Welcome back everyone to another PowerShell video with the PowerShell nerd. We're going to be having fun today talking about conditional logic. We're going to be talking about if else, switch statements. So we're going to be learning all that stuff, building those skills so we can write some scripts and automate some stuff. Don't forget, if you can, hit that like button, hit that bell, hit that subscribe, leave comments below, engage with the community. If there's something you want to know, let me know and I'll make content on it. Why not, right? So without further ado, let's hit the shell. All right, today, obviously we're on fire and we're hitting that shell and we're gonna make some decisions today, right? So let's go ahead and get that kicked off. We're making those decisions. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get a number, right? We're gonna store this number into a number variable. So obviously, based on last videos, where you're at today, what do you know this number is? It's an integer, right? Specifically, it's negative. Now we're going to do our if statement. So an if statement is basically, if this is true, do this thing. Else, do this other thing. You can also do if, else if. So basically, if this isn't true, else if this isn't true, then do else this, right? So basically, it's going in order. It's a little bit different than switch statements. Switch statements do make things more clean. But with the if statement, you have to remember that it goes in order. So if it triggers on the first one, it's not going to continue through. It's going to stop right there. So we're going to go ahead and run this. We have our -5. And we're going to say, if the number is greater than 0, do this. Else, if the number is less than 0, do this. Else, do this. So we'll go ahead and run this. And obviously, we can see -5, or -5 is negative, which we knew this was going to trigger because -5 is less than 0. So that's kind of how the conditional logics work. Basically, like I said, it goes in order. So if there was another else if, it wouldn't even trigger. It would stop on this line here. So you have to be pretty careful when you're doing this, making sure your logic is accurate because it can get you. Let's go ahead and jump into service. So more logical stuff. We're going to get a service, and then we're going to do an if statement. So that you could run this across a bunch of servers, let's say, and you're checking if a service is not running, start it, whatever you want, right? So here we're going to say check the Windows Update service. We're going to go ahead and say if the service status. And what I tell you before in the videos before, I like sub expressions. So I would actually turn this into a sub expression just to be safe. So we'll go ahead and add that there. It just, for me, helps me sleep at night, right? So we'll go ahead and do if the service status is equal to running. We're going to write Windows Update service is running. And then if not, we're going to throw that caution window out and say nope. So we'll go ahead and kick this off. And it says Windows Update service is not running. Oh no. So we go ahead and do service. We can see it stopped. We can go ahead and start it. And then let's go ahead and run this logic again. And we can see, forgot to get our service. Got to run that first line first. Got to get the updated service. There we go. Windows Update service is running. We're getting those patches. That's how you do it, right? So we'll go ahead. I preferably like it stopped for now. Since this, doesn't really matter. But, all right. Go ahead and moving further. Let's go ahead and mess with getDate. getDate is very powerful. It can do a lot of things. Specifically, use it for naming files, logging. You can change certain things on it. So this one here, we're just going to do DayOfWeek. So if you're not aware, if you think of PowerShell, we haven't really talked about this. It's kind of like math. If it's in the parentheses, it's going to run first before anything else. So it's going to run getDate, and then it's going to grab the day of the week from that. So if we go ahead and run that, you can see it says Wednesday. So now we can say, if the day is equal to Friday, it's Friday. Script like a rock star, right? So we're going to run this. It's not Friday, so it's just another day. Flex your PowerShell muscles, which we're doing right now. So that's kind of with getDate and the if-else statements. Now here is a cool one. So this is switch statements. I'll get a deeper dive into switch statements because there's a lot to them. You can do specific things. You can do wildcards. You can do all kinds of stuff. It's pretty powerful. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to use read host. We haven't talked about read host, but basically this is taking input from the user. So if you have a script that runs and you ask the user a question, like what's your name, what's your favorite food, they type it in, it's going to go in input. You could do string validations to make sure, like making sure it equals certain things, or if it's like certain length or whatever. And then once you're ready, you throw it in your switch statement. Now, most programmers know that when you're doing this, especially in like Python or some case sensitive stuff, it's always best to make it lowercase or all caps, preferably all lowercase. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to get that input from the user. We're going to put it to lower. We're going to change it to lowercase. And if that input is pizza, it's going to execute the script base here. And this could be multi-line. It doesn't have to be all in one line. You can do this here. That's totally fine. So if it's pizza, this is what it's going to do. You can have it execute multiple things if you want. If it's tacos, it'll do this. Sushi. And then by default, if it's not none of those, it's going to do unrecognized snack. So let's go ahead and run this. And then enter your favorite snack. I'm going to have to pick pizza. So I'm going to go ahead and type in pizza. And there we go. Classic choice, PowerShell approved. Love it. So that's switch statements. Obviously, like I said, you can do wildcards and stuff. The syntax is a little different. You can read up on it, but you can do here, you can do regex, do wildcards. You can do a lot of stuff. Regex is super powerful too, especially if you're like doing string manipulations and stuff. So that's what we have today. I hope you learned some stuff with, conditional logics, if statements, elseifs. Hopefully you can write some stuff better now and you have a better understanding of how the logic works and the orders it works in. Here's our challenge for today. I actually have 2 today. So ask for user input using the read host that we learned about today. Use an if, else block to determine the number is positive, negative, or 0. So you're asking for a number. And then print different emoji messages. It's just more fun. Emojis are fun all day long. I love emojis. Also, the next one, we're going to add a switch. I updated this. We're going to do a switch statement logic too. I want to make sure you guys get hands-on with switch statements. So ask for a user for their mood. And then go ahead and create a switch statement with responses. And again, use those emojis. They're fun. I love them. You love them, hopefully. See you next time.